Hi there. So this is going to be my short series on the multiplayer map design of the ships in Sea of Thieves. So the majority of the maps, the majority of the map in Sea of Thieves is water. So the majority of the fighting that happens between two crews, considering that your ship is your spawn point, are between the two ships. It's very rare that you'll get two crews fighting each other on a beach or on an island because the moment that you spot someone, the immediate thought is, oh my god, where's my ship? What is my ship? Okay, because that's your spawn zone. If they've sunk your ship, all they need to do is kill you once, and that's it. So first ship we're going to look at is the Sloop. Um, the reason I'm going into it in this way is because, as I was just saying, the majority of fighting is between two ships, and so if someone boards your ship, it becomes not a ship-to-ship combat fight, but a PvP, a play versus player combat situation. So, how does the ship work as an arena for that encounter between two players? Okay, so one of the things that I used to do when uh, I was a little younger was design and build maps for Halo Reach. So I would watch documentaries from the developers to see what their tips and tricks were for building maps and uh, creating a fair and even and balanced multiplayer map for people to be able to fight on. So the majority of the fighting in Sea of Thieves happens on the ship. So uh, this is because you rarely get people engaging other people on an island. What happens is people will try to locate your ship first off and just sink it because that's your spawn zone. This is where you have all your stuff. It's where you get it's this is your boat. This is your thing. So yeah, the majority of the fighting will happen on the ship, like vast majority. So just gonna go ahead and make the ship look pretty before I go and take you around. Because who wants to go looking around a default ship? Not me. Waiting for that rose wheel. So let's look at the sloop. First thing I'm gonna look at is where are the entry points. So if someone boards your ship, where are they boarding the ship from? So the obvious entry points are the two side ladders. Someone comes up to the side of the ladder, press X. There's a noise. You can hear that when you come onto the ship. You can hear the swimming noises. So when you're up there, you know when someone's going to be climbing up this ladder. You can hear it. Same with the other side. There's another ladder on the other side, obviously. Um, yeah. So when you're stood up here, this is the point at which you're defending. You've maybe seen me in a video before. If I thought someone was going to come aboard the ship, I stand here and I wait because you can cover one ladder, but then someone will come up the other ladder. So you've got to be very careful of that. Technically, people can use the grappling hooks to get on board the ship, although this is a lot more difficult, and I've never actually done it myself. I can even try it out now and see if it even works. It doesn't work on flat water, it would seem. But if there's a significant enough wave that kind of pushes you up onto the boat, you can use this to get on the boat, although it's not something that's very practical. The only other way to get on the ship that I know of, um, from the water, that is a rowboat. The rowboat's attached to the back of the boat here. If you row up to the back of the boat, you press Y, the boat will attach itself to the sloop. Um, what you can do if you're in the water, again, I'm not sure if these patched some of these things, so forgive me if I'm wrong. The the rowboat, you can get into the rowboat on the side by pressing X. So if the rowboat is, again, it's low enough in the water, if there's enough of a wave, if the sea is rough enough, then you can get aboard this way. Although again, it's difficult. It's not something that you can rely on. So yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, there's not enough really viable entry points to this boat. The thing you do is, I guess, have two of you board at the same time, although the sloop can have up to two crewmen. So really, you can cover both ladders if you're a good enough crew. Then, you know, really nobody's getting aboard your ship. Um, the only other way really is to either sword dash or fire yourself out of a cannon directly onto the deck. Although yeah, that's difficult, that's to say the least. It's not the easiest thing. I've seen some videos where people fire themselves out of cannons, they fly through the air, and they actually land on the ladder on the mast, which is astronomical odds. It's not going to happen very often. So yeah, I feel like there's not enough entry points, and that they're not spaced in a way that allows for good multiplayer flow. My personal change, or what I would do to mitigate this or to fix this, is to introduce grappling hooks into the game. So to be honest, instead of these ladders being here at all, or at least I would like the ability to roll up these ladders if you know, during combat, say. Even if it is easier to use a grapple hook, at the end of the day, I want these ladders. I want the ability to pull these ladders up. I think that grapple hooks would be better because you would see a grapple hook attach to the side of the boat, and then as someone on the boat, you know, if someone's pulling themselves in, much like they might reel a fish in, um, with the fishing rod mechanics, um, they would reel themselves onto the boat, and you would have a set amount of time to say, come over and hit the grapple hook off of the boat. You could shoot it off of the boat. You could even throw a grenade, say if you were busy. Getting lost in my buttons here. Say if you were busy up on the wheel and you're like, I'm sailing the ship, oh no, can't quite get off to deal with people who are boarding the ship because otherwise we'll hit an island, and you know, I don't want to have to choose between the two things, so I could just sort of chuck a cheeky little grenade down there to knock those grapple hooks off. Again, for, you know, the back, the sides, obviously there is a chance of missing. So yeah, that would be my like addition to this game, would be the ability to grapple hook the side of the ship, and it would just kind of like, you know, hop you up onto the ship once you reach the top of the wood. Although I'm not sure how mechanically this could work, and whether I mean, it'd probably be a nightmare for the coders because the ship is a moving object, the player's a moving object. That's all variable. So yeah, but it could be done on the back of the ship here quite easily, I think. So right, what next? So we talked about entry points. Let's talk about the flow. So this sort of is dictated by, uh, you know, how easy is it to run around on your ship. So to get on to that top area there is only one ladder. You can only use this one ladder to get up there, unless you're boarding. You can theoretically, I guess, jump off the side of the ship and grab the ladder and pull up that way, but then when you're pulling up the ladder, you're vulnerable. You can't pull a weapon out here, which, I mean, again, I would like for that to be changed. It'd be very nice to pull my pistol out here and shoot someone in the face as I'm climbing up the ladder. Options. Everybody likes options. But yeah, so when you're up on this area, really, your only entry points are these two ladders here and this staircase. So when someone's on the ship, you boarded someone's ship, your only way to get up to the guy on the captain's area is to go up this staircase here, thus inviting a shotgun to the face. So yeah, not great. I would put a ladder on each side myself. On the larger ships, that is the case. The galleon, that's the case. We'll have a look at that later. But the sloop, I'm not a big fan of the one staircase. Although I understand that they're pushed for space, and so the cannonball barrels have been put over here. Although they could have been put next to the cannon. I think that cannonball barrel could quite easily sit here. But anyway, the underneath of the ship, again, only one entry point. We've spoken about the fact that the rowboat is not a great entry point here. It just doesn't. It's not practical. So really, the only way to get inside someone's ship is down this ladder. Sorry, down the stairs. Same with down these stairs as well. It's the only entry point to the bottom deck. I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of having only one entry point. It'd be nice if this opened, and there was some kind of like, I don't know, a little ladder or something like that I could pull myself up. I mean, it would just open up this area completely. I'd maybe move this forward a bit as well, so that it was more to the back, so that this area here doesn't serve as like a dead end that you find yourself trapped in. Oh no, there's people coming down the stairs. I'm trapped here. I know I'm gonna die. There's no, so you sort of think, you start thinking to yourself like, what's the point in fighting? And the word for fighting there being playing. What's the point in playing? It's frustration. It's going to cause frustration. It does cause frustration, but Also, I'm not sure why there's a brig on the sloop. Just to make a note of that, this is extra space here that's been used up by something that, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I'm aware, you can't use. You need a majority vote to put someone in the brig, and on a sloop there's only two players. So unless you're going to vote yourself into the brig, which, I mean, as funny as that would be, I've never done it, never seen anybody do it, and I love to mess around with anything. I mean, look, now I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to have to do it. But my point is, this is all space that's been used up for nothing effectively. It doesn't need to be there. I also noticed there's some space under the cannonball barrels there that appears to not be getting used at all. Not a big fan of that. You should always be making use of all of your space, especially on a boat as small as this. Yeah. This flow's not so bad. Putting these barrels in the middle, although it does restrict the space, and you can find yourself. If you notice while I'm running along the edge of this wall, you can get stuck, which is horrible and annoying. This really should be sort of a harder wall there, I guess, just to ensure that you know you're not bashing off of all these barrels, because in the middle of combat you get, oh, God, I'm stuck. It's all frustration. It doesn't need to be there. This stuff in the middle, whereas it breaks it up and it provides like a little area where you can hide, potentially, use it as cover when people are coming down the stairs or whatever. It also serves to block this area completely. And I'm not a big fan of barrels that can't be used. These barrels are just decorative. Considering that most, these barrels, the food barrels, wood barrel, cannonball barrels, they have a use. It does bother me that these barrels don't have a use. It just takes up space, and again, on a ship that has very little space to begin with, it's just not necessary. You could line the bottom wall with them. On old ships, there's pictures of old ships that I've looked at online and as part of my research. They don't just have barrels kicking around like this. They usually store them right underneath the ship, actually. So this is a flat deck here, you notice, but the bottom of the ship is curved. So what they would do is they would actually stack barrels underneath the bottom deck on the bottom of the ship, which is a very wide area, plenty of storage space. So, if you're going to do that, if you're going to have like your decorative barrels, then that's where they'd go, and theoretically you should maybe have some kind of entry point to that area, even if it's just a small crawl space, and you add some kind of mechanic where you sort of crawl and maybe hide. That would be very appealing for the people who do tucking, which I'll demonstrate that very quickly. Is if you get to, say, an area like this, and you sleep, you become well, apparently I've become invisible. It's just my camera. So you can sleep emote into items, and it will hide you. I hate this. I'm fine with people like hiding aboard your ship, but I don't like them doing an emote in order to hide like inside something. Like it's a glitch. So like that ammo box there, it's not doing that with that. But say with a gold chest, it would happen with the gold chests that you've like acquired off a beach, because they could phase into each other, and the characters can also phase, like they can run through them. So they emote like into a pile of loot. It's yeah. Anyway, that's a smaller side. I'm not a huge fan. Ooh, can't believe I've not got my pet out this whole time. The Earl of York. I can only call him the Earl of York because they wouldn't let me call him the Duke of York, which is just not right. But anyway. So yeah, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked now. This is the, yeah, this I think I've covered pretty much everything. Not, the armory bin here is fine. It's a nice wide open area. You can pick between your guns here. I haven't had my ghosty sword yet. Where's my pistol then? There we go. Quite like my aristocrat pistol. It's very nice. Difficult to aim though. It's not easy using this kind of a gun. But yeah, most people for ship defense tend to use the shotgun, obviously. Some people do double gun. That's up to them. I think that it's too easy to aim down the sniper rifle maybe and just get a quick, like, was it the kids used to call it 360 no scope? Like, right, well, that hit the ceiling, which is no good. But yeah, they can very quickly just kind of zoom like, bang, and get that perfect shot, which while you're on the move, you really shouldn't be able to do. They need to slow that down, or make it so you can't zoom and say move at the same time, because walking and zooming in with your eyes, like, at best, if you're going to keep that mechanic in, have the player, like, potentially, like, there's a, sort of a 30-40% chance that they, like, stumble and trip because they're not watching where they're going or whatever, and the shot, like, will go, like, and that'd be kind of a cool little mechanic to add in. Anyway, where am I at? 15 and a half minutes. Right, I guess I'll take this to 16 minutes. Yeah, there's not a lot more to say about the Sloop. I can cover other things with the other videos, but yeah, without sounding like I'm slating Rare too hard, because they've made a beautiful game here, but I'm going to be honest, I feel like the design of the ship, whereas it works aesthetically and is very beautiful, it doesn't really work as a multiplayer map. You can get stuck on the sides of things too easily, and there's not very good flow around the ship itself. It's very one way. I mean, I can obviously jump between different areas, but it's difficult to be doing this like on your normal controller. You gotta press A to jump, so you can't jump and turn at the same time. PC players obviously sort of laughing at that idea. This is why you buy an Elite controller with the paddles on the back. But again, I digress. Yeah, I feel like there could be some changes, some additions to the ship, or some things taken out, such as the brig, that would just lend itself to making this area a more of a an arena for fighting each other. Because again, people boarding your ship, that's kind of a, like, when you're shooting at another ship with your cannons, you're putting holes in the side of the ship. It's quite rare that in itself will sink the ship, because obviously people are going to go, oh no, my ship has been fired at. I'm going to grab myself some wood. I'm just going to start hammering the holes shut. Yes, I've only got a limited amount of wood, obviously, but if I've been stocking up all day and I've got in excess of 100 pieces of wood, then they're going to have to fire a lot of cannonballs into the side of your ship multiple times over in order to actually sink you. So the only viable option really to properly sink a ship, at least one being run by half decent players. Oh no, there's something that's tempting. Oh, it's a shame I'm busy. Yeah, the only thing that's going to work to sink a ship with pro players or people who are any good really is to board their ship and stop them from fixing, stop them from bailing the water, stop them from firing back, stop them from repairing the wheel, the mast, the anchor, stop them from raising the anchor if you've gotten on and lowered it, or if you've hit them with an anchor ball. These are all pretty essential parts of the combat in order to actually sink a ship. Boarding is fairly essential. Not always, but almost always. So that's why it's so important to make sure that this ship is a fun multiplayer arena that works for players fighting each other, because oftentimes you're fighting something like a galleon. There's 4 players on that galleon. They send 3 of them over here. Well, it's potentially 5 players running around on this top deck, all just shooting each other and fight. And it just turns into a, I've got this side of the ship, you've got that side of the ship. We'll just kind of fire and run at each other with swords or whatever, guns, throwing grenades, and yeah, it's over very quickly. It's not a, yeah, it's not a very nuanced fighting arena, and I think it could be better. But anyway, I'm coming up to the 20-minute mark now, and I've rambled on for far too long, so I'm going to leave it at that. And we're going to go and take a much shorter look at the brigantine and then the galleon. So catch you in those videos.